Hi there. I've received several inquiries about the lifelong question of where does water come from and where does it go? Uh, my name is Jason Palmer, knower of all things. I'm going to give you a detailed explanation regarding this question. First of all, this question is a little ambiguous, meaning there's more than one way to interpret it. There are several different interpretations that I will attempt to answer to hopefully to your liking. First, the water cycle. First part of the water cycle is evaporation. This is where heat and energy from the sun evaporates water, where water transitions from liquid to gaseous form. From there, it rises up. Another method of water going from liquid to vapor form is through transpiration. That is when plants absorb water through the soil and then basically breathe it off of their leaf surfaces. From there, the water rises up and condenses, kind of like when you're in the shower and water droplets form on the mirror. The same thing happens in the sky, and that is how clouds are formed. Now, this part I'm certain you all know is precipitation. Several forms of precipitation that we need to be aware of. First is rain and snow. Those are the most common, and sleet and hail. I'm sure we've all seen those before. That is the method by which water leaves the cloud and comes back down to Earth. From there, percolation takes place, and that is where water either runs off of dirt and grass and stuff into lakes and rivers and oceans, or it is soaked into the soil, and from there it travels to low points such as lakes and rivers and oceans. And that concludes the water cycle. Now, there's another question, or there's another answer I could give you, is my second interpretation. This starts with the Big Bang. We all know immediately following the Big Bang, the newly created universe was almost entirely composed of hydrogen. Hydrogen, again, as we all know, is a single proton that can be accompanied by an electron and or, rarely, a neutron. Other elements, nuclei, are composed of varying numbers of protons and neutrons. What is water? Water is composed of 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogens. If there's only hydrogen, how do we get other elements? The answer to that is from stars like our sun. What happened is in that sun, we have hydrogen. These hydrogens react with each other and they bond together and make a helium. A helium is 2 protons and 2 neutrons. From there, 2 heliums are fused together to create a beryllium. That beryllium is then reacted with another helium, which produces carbon. This is important. Carbon is the element that most things on Earth are comprised of. It's the number 1 element that we see. Our bodies are mostly made of carbon. From there, a carbon reacts with another helium and combines to make water, which we can see here on the slide. Now that oxygen is very, very important. Other reactions take place as well that produce other heavier elements, but we only really care about oxygen at this point. Now, how does that oxygen react with hydrogen again to become water? Well, first that star needs to become supernova. It needs to go critical. It needs to explode with massive amounts of energy. And we'll actually see what we call a quasar, which is this thing right here. And that's once the star goes supernova, there's like a beam of energy and mass that goes shooting out at incredible velocities. And this is essentially how water escapes the star. And then due to gravity and everything else, it comes back together, forming planets. And then that oxygen reacts with the hydrogen, producing water. That is where water comes from. But where does it go? Eventually, the water reacts with other compounds and is no longer classified as water. Also, due to gravity, water will eventually come together and create a new star, and it's going to, through fusion, it's going to react and become heavier elements such as lead and gold. Essentially the same process that created oxygen, but continues on. We saw that in the previous slide. I hope this is a sufficient answer to you, Brody and Riley.